On this week's episode of Capital City Sports, baseball takes on Presbyterian and Eastern Kentucky. The men's basketball team looks for a third conference win against Georgia. The women's basketball team seeks for another win in their historic season against Florida. And we have Equestrian taking on Texas A&M. This is Capital City Sports. Hello everybody and welcome into this week's episode of Capital City Sports. I'm your host, Jeremy Urso. The USC baseball team had a strong opening series against Bucknell, scoring over 40 runs total, and this past Tuesday they took on Presbyterian. Nick Jones was there and we sent it to him for the highlight.
On Tuesday afternoon, the South Carolina Gamecocks baseball team took on the Presbyterian Blue Hose. They look to extend their record to 4-0. Will they remain undefeated? Let's take a look at the highlight. Kurt Britt would have his first start of the season and have a career high of 5 scoreless innings with him on the mound. The Gamecocks would finally get a runner to home plate with the help of Connor Bright's double over in the left outfield in the 6th inning. At the bottom of the 7th inning, Kyle Martin would hit a 3-run homer over the right field wall to extend the Gamecocks' lead to 4. That would be the last time South Carolina would put runs on the board, and the Gamecocks would pull out with the victory over the Blue Hose 4-0. Friday afternoon at 3 p.m., the Gamecocks will be here at Carolina Stadium to take on Eastern Kentucky. With Capital City Sports, this is Nick Jones.
After Tuesday night's win, the Gamecocks had another series at home this past weekend. After winning Game 1 on Friday, the Gamecocks were looking for a 6th consecutive win on Saturday afternoon. Let's take it to Brian and Stan, who have more information.
Saturday at Carolina Stadium, the Gamecocks looking to continue their hot start to the season, looking to go 6-0. Jack Wynkoop is back on the mound, looking to get his second W of the season as they take on Eastern Kentucky. Let's take it to Brian Principe with the highlight.
In the 4th inning, Carolina has one on with 1 out when Eastern Kentucky center fielder Kyle Nolan makes a nice sliding catch to retire Grayson Griner for the second out of the inning. Gamecock starter Jack Wynkoop would dominate EKU batting, striking out not one, not two, but the side in the 5th inning. Wynkoop would continue this for the remainder of the game. Staying in the 5th, Marcus Mooney would lay down a beautiful sac bunt to move pinch runner Zach Madden to second base. After a Max Schrock walk, Madden would advance to third on Tanner English's sacrifice fly to center, but the Gamecocks would leave 2 stranded in the frame as their bats continue to struggle against Colonel pitching. Eastern's TJ Alice would line this pitch deep into the left field corner, but Elliot Caldwell will run it down for a nice grab for the Gamecocks. Wynkoop would continue his pitching dominance and end the 6th inning with another strikeout, registering 7 through 6 innings of work. In the bottom of the 6th inning, South Carolina would finally get the bats going when Connor Bright laced a double down the right field line, putting the Gamecocks in business. Gamecocks catcher Grayson Griner followed Bright's double, and on the very next pitch, Griner would rocket one deep into left field, forcing a leap at the wall, but Eastern Kentucky's outfielder Justin Cessna would come up empty-handed, and Carolina would lead 2-0. For Griner, it was his 2nd home run in the young season. He, Kyle Martin, and Schrock all lead the team with 2 home runs. After giving the lead, Wynkoop would go on to strike out 2 more Colonels in the 7th and 1 more in the 8th, totaling 10 in the ballgame. Following a walk to TJ Alice, setting up 2nd and 1st with 1 out for Eastern Kentucky, Coach Chad Holbrook would call in the Carolina bullpen. The Gamecock faithful gave Wynkoop a standing ovation for his 10 strikeout and 3-hit ball he threw over 7 1/3 innings of solid work. His teammates would also congratulate him on his performance on the mound this afternoon. Cody Mincy would come in for relief for Wynkoop. After Mincy retired 1, Vince Flory would finish off the Colonel threat, forcing Doug Teagarden to bounce out to Schrock to end the 8th. The Gamecocks would threaten in the 8th with Elliot Caldwell lining a base hit to right field, but TJ Atlas would gun down Griner, who tried to go first to third on the base hit. Joel Seddon would come on for the Gamecocks to try to close out Eastern Kentucky in the ninth, and he'd do just that, retiring the Colonels in order, striking out Ben Fisher to end the game. The Gamecocks improved to 6-0 and extend their shutout streak to 42 consecutive innings. Wycoop, who shined for Carolina, improved to 2-0. Carolina and Eastern Kentucky will meet up Sunday to finish off their weekend series. Let's go back over to Stan Smith at the stadium.
Thanks, Brian. The Gamecocks look to sweep Eastern Kentucky Sunday afternoon. For Capital City Sports, I'm Stan Smith.
The final game of the series against Eastern Kentucky was played on Sunday afternoon. For more information, let's take it to the highlight.
Coming into the final game of the series, the Carolina Gamecocks were riding on 2 streaks, 42 scoreless innings and 4 shutout victories. Let's see how the Carolina Gamecocks faced up against the Colonels. Freshman Will Crow would start for the Gamecocks on the mound. He managed 1 strikeout in the first and struck out the side in the second. In the third, Joey Pancake would rip one into left, sparking a big inning for the Gamecocks. Connor Bright would follow suit after bringing Joey Pancake home for the Gamecocks' first run of the game. Shortly after, Grayson Griner would add another RBI to his record as Kyle Martin crosses home plate. Rounding out a solid third inning, D.C. Arendis hits a double, bringing in Connor Bright and Grayson Griner. Gamecocks lead 4-0 going into the fourth. Unfortunately, Will Crow's hitless streak would end in the fourth with a single shot to center. Later on, with a runner in scoring position, Connor Bright knocks one into left, widening the gap in the score to 6-0. The Carolina pitching staff had an overall impressive day. Joel Seddon sealed the deal with this strikeout and then a ground out to second. The Gamecocks would take the W 6-0, their 5th shutout victory in a row.
It gives us a lot of momentum going into next weekend. The team's playing great, pitching staff's unbelievable, and we look to take it into next weekend.
Will got us off to a good start. He pitched very, very well. Our pitchers are the story, obviously, with the way they're throwing the ball right now. We continue to play pretty solid defense behind our pitchers. And that's what we talk about on a daily basis around here. Pitch and play D, and you have a chance to win.
Carolina looks to continue both their streaks in the series against Clemson. For Capital City Sports, I'm Haley Anders.
And from baseball, we now move to men's basketball, where the team had 2 wins last week against both Vanderbilt and Alabama, but then suffered a close loss on the road against Arkansas. Could the Gamecocks bounce back and get a 3rd SEC victory against Georgia on Saturday? John Dowdy has the answer.
Welcome into the Colonial Life Arena, where the South Carolina men's basketball team took on the Georgia Bulldogs. The team's coming off a tough loss on the road at Arkansas and are looking to rebound against a very physical Georgia Bulldog team. Let's check out the highlight to see how they did.
Gamecocks came into the game looking to continue their success at home in the cold weather, calling for a whiteout with blizzard conditions. Brenton Williams starts the Gamecocks off strong with a 3 from the right side. The senior totaled 16 points in the game. Georgia's Kenny Gaines counters with the first of his 5 threes, keeping the game close early. Brian Steele won it in on the range game, and he cashes in from the left corner. And the mistakes began. Sindarius Thornwell can't receive the pass from Demetrius Henry, and Brandon Morris slams the ball home. Marcus Thornton puts his lone 3 of the game off the glass to beat the shot clock. The team's going to the locker room tied at 34. Second half was all Georgia, Kenny Gaines igniting a 16-1 run for the Bulldogs. Charles Mann adds with a long 2. Despite a 3 by Williams and a fast break dunk by Chikevichus, the Gamecocks shot a meager 16% in the second half, while the Bulldogs shot 48%. J.J. Frazier adds to the lead with an NBA range 3 to beat the shot clock. And Gaines again from three-point land to cap off a 27-point outing. After the collapse, the Gamecocks would lose by a final score of 73-56.
After the game, Coach Frank Martin stressed the importance of competing even harder when you're down. The Gamecocks take on Auburn on the road next week. For Capital City Sports, I'm John Dowdy. Let's take it back to the studio.
Although the season hasn't gone as planned for the men's basketball team, the women's basketball team has had a great season with head coach Dawn Staley. They are looking for a #1 seed in the NCAA college tournament, And this past Thursday, they blew out the Kentucky Wildcats. This past Sunday at home, they took on the Florida Gators, and our colleague Austin Lewis was there, and he has more information.
We're here at Colonial Life Arena as the number 4 Gamecocks are taking on the Florida Gators. This game holds special meaning for the Gamecocks as they are playing for breast cancer awareness and coach Nikki McCrae. Let's see if the Gamecocks could pull out the victory. The Lady Gamecocks are in sole possession of first place in the SEC. And with the Texas A&M loss on Sunday, they could clinch a share of the SEC regular season title. The 24-2 Gamecocks are taking on the 17-9 Florida Gators. The Gators would get off to a quick start with a three-pointer by Cassie Peoples. The Gamecocks would answer back with a signature mid-range 2 by sophomore guard Tiffany Mitchell. Star freshman center Elena Coates would make her presence felt in the first half, as she would make an impact on both sides of the floor. Coates hits these 2 buckets down low and then ends the Gators' threat with a huge block. The Gamecocks would end the half with momentum after a 3 by guard Tiffany Davis. The score at halftime is a 32-22 Gamecocks lead. Tiffany Mitchell continues her hot start to the game with a sidestepping layup down the lane. Florida would cut the lead to 7 after an incredible banked-in 3 by Antoinette Bannister and a wide-open 3 by Carly Needles. The Gamecocks will be led down the stretch by the 2 players it has been led by all season long, Tiffany Mitchell and Elisa Welch. Mitchell hits a big 3, and Welch extends the lead with 2 tough layups. Mitchell sinks in the dagger after hitting a remarkable off-balance mid-range jumper. South Carolina advances to 25-2 on the season and 13-1 in the SEC. The final score is 69-55. The Gators presented some matchup problems early for the Gamecocks, but through 20 points from Tiffany Mitchell and 16 points from Elena Coates, the Gamecocks will pull away in the second half. The Gamecocks win 69-55. The Gamecocks return to Colonial Life Arena on Thursday to take on the Georgia Bulldogs. For Capital City Sports, I'm Austin Lewis.
And to close out our episode, we have Women's Equestrian. Their season is winding down, and they will host the SEC Championship. This past Saturday, they took on Texas A&M, and Brett Williams has all you need to know about the results. Let's take it to Brett.
The erratic Carolina weather settled down for a gorgeous Saturday today here at Onewood Farm, where the South Carolina Equestrian team took on Texas A&M. The Gamecocks, 8-2 on the season and ranked number 1 in the country for the 12th straight week, opened their spring SEC slate 2 weeks ago at Georgia, where they won 10-9 and avenged a loss to the Bulldogs in the fall. Today they hope to avenge another loss to the number 10 Aggies, who despite being the last team to beat the Gamecocks, have not won since. Let's take it to the highlight. The South Carolina riders got a chance to know their horses a little bit better before the match, and it showed in the arena. Jordan Brown reining in her horse Puffin here to provide the crowd some early morning action. And then also in reining, Jonna Letchworth showed off Boomer with a nice lap here. She picked up the point, and it was all tied 2 apiece after reining. Alexa Anthony stole the show on the hunt seat side today. Down here at the lower arena, she navigates the fences with ease. And the Gamecocks had no trouble on the fences either. They swept the event 5-0. And back up top, Western team captain Allison Sarasani showed why she holds that position, walking here with Reggie and making him stop on a dime. She won the point over Caroline Ammons, who rode Reggie for the Aggies. But Texas A&M did take the horsemanship event 3-2. At the final event of the day, equitation on the flat, Adele Norton led Toby around the arena for the Gamecocks. And Megan Phillips of the Aggies led Cecil. It was all tied up 1-1 at that time. But Catherine Schmidt, riding Mike, capped off the day and the Gamecock win with the final point on the flat. And your final score for the match, South Carolina 11, Texas A&M 6. With a high event score of 88, junior Alexa Anthony was named Equitation Over Fences MVP, her 5th overall MVP on the season. After the match, she spoke about team chemistry as a key to the Gamecock success.
I think we're doing a great job working together as a team again, and I think this semester we're really close. and we've been working a lot, especially in weight room and at practice, getting closer together and really encouraging each other to work harder and get better. And I think that's very positive, and I think it's good.
Head coach Boo Major also spoke after the match, touching on her team's high expectations and the improvement they need to fulfill them all.
I continue to think that we can improve. I mean, I know we're, the number one team in the country, and that we have beat, we've got a great record at this point, but the fun part for me is seeing areas where we need to improve. And so knowing that we can still be better and still win is kind of a nice problem to have. And I think what our goal is just to try to continue to try to be as mistake-free as we possibly can.
Now 3-0 in the spring, the Gamecocks will look to keep the momentum going as they host Auburn next Saturday, March 1st, in the final home match before the SEC tournament comes here to Blythewood in a month's time. Reporting from One Wood Farm, I'm Brett Williams, Capital City Sports.
That's going to be it for this week's episode of Capital City Sports. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at CCS on SGTV. From all of us here at Capital City Sports, we thank you, the Gamecock universe, for watching our program.